wrap you in my warm embrace, and I make it last forever, babe. I catch a glimpse of heaven
Now
when
you
you
let
let
me
me
wrap
wrap
you
you in
in
my
my
warm
warm
embrace.
embrace. Stop
Stop
playing
playing
with
with
me.
me.
I'm here, baby. I'm here. Rah. How I go?
That's cap.
Thank you. The truth figures back. All right, Barak. All right, bro. You got to stop, brother. So we gonna go ahead and just empty the clip on Barak right away. Let's go ahead and get into it, bro. You were continuing to be an affront. It is an affront to all the brothers out there that is trying to be the leaders of their household. If you still doing that kind of thing and looking for and listen, and those of us who actually care about respect, because Barak is from the cloth of black men that they get encouraged to basically be tolerant of disrespect and passive aggressiveness. As long as you're not being called a cunt or a bitch to your face, or being called your name to your face, right? Because someone like Barak, for perfect example, now it wasn't obvious before because we wasn't in this space as black people where we see Barack and Michelle's relationship for what it is, which is an unfulfilling relationship on the man's side. Because their storyline prior to this era was that basically their storyline was based off the idea that black men ain't shit if they don't got a black woman beside them, or basically that black. And again, it's about that dependency. It's that because really what all this stuff is in terms of everything women be telling you about, even when you hear these stupid arguments about, if you want me to make the house a home, you want me to be submissive, this and that, fam, yo, you gonna be what you gonna be. The whole scam of basically, if I'm paid to be a certain kind of way, I can be a certain kind of way. I think people can be a little bit nicer if you pay them. I think people can do a little better if you pay them, but you can't change who someone is because you give them a few. Anywho, so like I was saying before, it is ingrained, especially if you an FBA black man, it is ingrained in you to be the kind of man that's never going to take over nothing. Because the lie that's been always been sold to modern men is that if you be a nice guy, if you're a good guy, you play by all the rules, that basically you'll have a good life. And I don't mean to do evil. I'm not saying that you should be doing Ponzi schemes or things like that. I'm not saying that. But what you gotta understand is that what do you do when trouble arises? What do you do when the law is not going to be able to intervene to be able to assist you? You know what I'm saying? What do you do when you got to take justice into your own hands? What do you do when you got to take your future into your own hands? For the most part, again, society relies largely on men caving in, men giving up, and men just submitting to their roles in their families. Okay, so the clip we're getting ready to share is with Barack on this stupid pod. I had to call it a stupid podcast, but it's like a podcast. I'm not sure why Michelle Obama has her own podcast. But anyway, going back to one of the reasons, because their story was supposed to be what black love was. As a black man back then, I didn't understand that that's like that slave love. Most black women's idea of what it means for a black man to love you, or what a good black man is mostly a man that's either he's never going to be able to see that he's too good for you, or he's never going to mature to the point where he sees you for who you really are. And that's another reason why, again, that's one of the real reasons why the women that you maybe wind up with in your 30s, she'll have the first men she was with was these so-called Pookies and Ray Rays, and these guys with problems and stuff like that. And then at some point she becomes serious. But now, I had to watch the CGA show. I understand. We kind of understood that women want to be in the street for a certain amount of time, but I didn't look at it as women wanting to start their lives later on. But anyway, but even women thinking like that in general, but for the most part, trying to get more in a man's timeline, which is also crazy too. Hate to keep going off on tangents, but overall, clips like this is damaging, and it's an issue because it gives women more fuel, and it gives them a real world example that they can point to, and basically an incredible figure that they can point to say, look, he's okay with it. Okay. So Barack makes this point about how, based in so many words, I think he's trying to say that you should have a diverse friend group, and he had a gay professor, and that he wound up having a lot of respect for the professor. He talks about how the professor basically would call him out and basically check him. And what that professor really was doing was he's a part of the grooming. Like in the black community, there's a communal grooming that goes on to make sure that the black men stay at the very bottom of the hierarchy of black people. Let's go over that hierarchy again. The hierarchy of black people is old black chicks, black women, black girls, black boys, then within black men, dark skinned niggas, and as the tone goes down to like my complexion and like Steph Curry, you have less privileges and you can get away with less shit. You know what I mean? Like being dark skinned in the black community is like having a ring from the ring. It's like you can it's like you got an invisibility cloak and it drives you mad. You go mad with power. You just have more credibility. If you're a dark skinned dude, people just believe you. If you rap, people believe you. You know what I mean? Just off the rip. You know, Ply still got three different voices. But the bigger thing is that pause is that they want men to stay, black men in particular, to stay in this state of mind of not really knowing who you are. Because the thing about trying to be so progressive and trying to mix certain concepts and stuff like that, and mixing feminist ideals and traditional ideals, because that's what that shit is. And for the most part, people do that, especially liberal people do that because that was seen as a cool thing to do. That was cool. That's wow, you're so open minded. But let me tell you something right now. Listen, and it's one of the reasons why a lot of men start becoming more conservative thinking and more moderate thinking. They start realizing that those kind of guys, Barak is in the cup chair, boy. You in the cup chair of life. Let me tell you something. If you are truly great at what you do, you have a cuck bull relationship with most other men. All right? Because if you're great at what you do and you do the same thing for him, it's like having to watch some other dude smash his girl, and not only smash his girl in front of him, but smash his girl way better. All right, and it may be levels to it. You know what I mean? Some niggas may fold him up. You know what I mean? Some dudes do the whole like jackhammer thing where they get the legs all the way back and they just start to just they hammer themselves into that woman. That woman finds herself in Pound Town. You know what I'm saying?
Your body. If you love me, let me get your body.
I'm just popping it for my fans. That's all.
All right, let's go ahead and get to it, man.
Things that I think a lot of times boys need is not just exposure to one guy, one dad. No matter how good the dad is,
he can't be
he can't be everything.
Word.
That boy may need somebody.
He can't. Listen. Like if your dad obviously can't be a gay dude.
To give the boys some perspective on the dad.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
One of the most valuable things I learned as a guy was I had a gay professor in college at a time when openly gay folks still weren't outlawed. Who became one of my favorite professors and was a great guy and would call me out when I started saying stuff that was ignorant. You need that to show empathy and kindness. And by the way, and that's one of the things that I think a lot of times boys need is friend groups, so that if you then have a boy who's gay or non-binary or whatever, they have somebody that they can go, okay, I'm not alone in this. Yeah. You need that person in your friend group, so that if you then have a boy who is
drunk men is more intelligent than 3 women with PhDs.
Thank you so much.
That's
thank you so much.
Thank
you so much.
Wanted to wrap you in my warm embrace.
This is how the young men get groomed. Shout out to CJ, man. He went over this on his channel about like why black men in particular like old women, why they like dominant. For the most part, you were encouraged to want to be with a manly woman or more masculine figure than yourself. Or like for example, what I thought was really interesting is about how like black men in particular really be thinking that they need to be both masculine and feminine, and that's y'all problem. You're trying to be too many different things at one time. and you don't realize that it causes confusion within you, and it's just no good. Because the thing is like, yo, if as a man, right? How masculine can I? First of all, what's more important for me to be masculine or for me to be feminine? First of all, there's never a time where I need to be feminine. That's a feminist concept because within feminism, the idea is that yo, no one has a fixed role. Anyone can be anything, right? And that's how you also set men up to be fluid when it comes to sexual orientation. Because you start them down that path of, because he didn't specify what was the ignorant thing that you were saying, because he must have had been something to do with women or with people who were homosexual, right? Because again, it feeds into this concept of gay people are beyond reproach. You cannot, because for the most part, people don't really. It wasn't until recently, people started kind of calling out the effed up behavior and the mindset of gay people. All right, what you'll find with a lot of queer people have mental health issues. A lot of them struggle with depression. A lot of them have depression, ADHD, some form of autism. It's something accompanying it, as if, like, I'm not saying it's a sickness, but a lot of people who have sicknesses, they usually have depression and ADHD. Basically, problems with attention span, problems with their mood regulation, all that kind of stuff. It usually comes with any kind of physical or mental ailment, right? But what it does is it makes it the way these people, that when they speak, you have to listen or you have to respect them, and you can't just critique them for who they are. But not only that, I think it's also just ignorant to just reduce. First of all, what does that guy's sexual orientation have to do with his skills as a professor and his influence on you? And that whole scenario that he gives at the end, that's a very 2010s thing to do. Because here's the thing about that whole conversation is that kids go through so many different phases and they are so impressionable. One of the main reasons why you hear so many kids say that they're non-binary and gay, all this different stuff, is because they're exposed to it on social media and TV. I guarantee you that almost 75 to 90% of the kids who call themselves trans, especially the non-binary stuff, because the thing is, at any given time, you can claim this identity. I think we don't realize how delicate that process is and how we don't support young men and women having a positive identity. And one of the reasons why they don't is because we don't encourage the girls to be nice, good, feminine women. You gotta realize, women will be evil and chaotic on their own, but society encourages it through TV, even the legal system.